Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about walking away and letting go of someone you love. Now, doing this, walking away from someone that you love, is extremely difficult. It's not an easy thing to do. So you should be proud of yourself if you've already taken the steps to distance yourself from that person. So this person could be an ex, it could be even a family member or something like that. But I feel like most people that are watching my videos are having troubles with their ex, trying to reattract their ex back and getting over their ex. So I'm going to go mostly from that side. So walking away from an ex and someone that you love, it's tough because for example, you may have spent a lot of time with this person. Okay, like if you had a long-term relationship with them, it's going to be hard to let go. And even if you had a short-term relationship, it can sometimes be very hard to let go. I remember when I was a teenager finding it very difficult to get over crushes, and sometimes I wouldn't get over certain crushes for like years, and it would take ages, and I just wouldn't get over it, and they were just all that I thought about, and that can be even more intense with someone like an ex as well, right? It can be even worse with an ex. So you should be really proud of yourself if you have started to go into no contact, if you have started to realize that you actually need to walk away from that person. Okay, because what you got to understand is, especially if they were the one that dumped you, is that currently, for whatever reason, they don't want you in their life right now. They're not interested in being with you, because if they were, then they would be, you see, okay? What you got to understand is that men and women don't dump their partners that they're in love with, that they're totally attracted to, right? So so with that being said, obviously something has happened that's made them fall out of love with you and less attracted to you, and that's why they dumped you. And what you've got to understand and what you've got to realize is that you don't want to be with someone who doesn't want you. It's going to be extremely difficult to try and win them back if they are, hell-bent on never getting back with you. It's going to be extremely difficult to try and convince them to be with you. In fact, trying to convince them to come back to you is actually going to make things a lot worse. Right? So it's always best actually when someone dumps you to go into no contact, to walk away from them completely, because any of the alternatives are not going to work. Like the alternative of begging, pleading, groveling at their feet, trying to convince them they've made the wrong choice. None of that is going to help, because, for example, they've made the decision, they've made the choice to dump you, they've made the choice to leave and not want to be with you anymore, right? They've made that choice. Right, and this current time, they're probably happy with their choice, which is why you may not have heard from them, right? So what you've got to understand then is that if you try and get them back, it's going to be extremely difficult, and you don't want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with you, right? Because it's difficult, it's tough, right? Even if somehow you did magically, convince them to get back with you, obviously they're not going to be happy, right? And you want to be with someone who totally 100% wants to be there and wants to be with you, okay? And you want to be, because first of all, like if they don't want to be with you, then there's a few things that might be going on. They might not respect you, right? Which is going to make a relationship with them very difficult. There has to be mutual respect in a relationship, right? And if they don't respect you, then it's going to be extremely difficult for you, right? And if they don't want to communicate with you, perhaps they're angry, perhaps they're bitter towards you for some reason, which they could be if they dumped you, then that's going to make life extremely difficult for you. And love shouldn't be so hard, right? Love shouldn't be so difficult, okay? Love can actually be extremely effortless if you find the right person, right? And this is one of those things that I hope will encourage you, if you haven't quite walked away yet, that will encourage you to walk away and to go into no contact and start letting go of this person that you love, okay? The person who you're supposed to be with, the person who's going to make things feel amazing for you, is a person who love is effortless with, right? So that means when you initially ask them out on a date, they say yes, they show up, you can communicate, they don't give you the silent treatment, right? And another thing about that though is that if you want someone who's not going to give you the silent treatment and knows how to communicate with you and knows how to communicate their feelings, then you have to be that kind of person as well. If you're someone who is, let's say, got some toxic traits like giving the silent treatment, being passive aggressive, then you're not going to be able to attract someone into your life who is, who is the opposite of that, who is a good communicator. Right, you're going to attract more people into your life who are also passive aggressive, who also give the silent treatment and don't know how to communicate their feelings effectively, right? So ultimately, basically, you've got to try the ultimate person for you, the person that would be your dream person, right? Your dream partner. You have to be quite similar to them in order to attract them, because they're not going to like someone who is the opposite of them, right? As in, or they're not going to like someone who they can't talk to because you're giving the silent treatment. So you have to really embody and start to become that kind of person who knows how to have a healthy, happy relationship, that knows how to communicate. And communication is one of those big things, you see. It's one of those huge things that you need to get down, that you need to understand. One of the best books that you can read on that is Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, because that really shows you the differences in how men and women communicate. So once you know how the opposite sex communicates, then you're able to actually nurture them and keep that relationship alive and keep it fresh and keep it new and keep it healthy. Because once you know how to communicate with them, then it's very easy to keep them happy. Because one of the biggest issues with relationships and marriages that break down is communication, not being able to speak to them effectively, not knowing how to talk to them, not knowing how to let off steam and things like that. It's extremely important that you know how to communicate with the opposite sex if you want to keep them, right? If you want to keep them long term, okay? Because what you got to understand about relationships is that, especially relationships that break down, is that usually the best time in that relationship is at the beginning. Right, and there's always nostalgia about the beginning of the relationship, and then things slowly get worse over time. When it comes to long-term relationships that are healthy and happy, what happens is that, the start was really good, but the love grows over time and the relationship matures into something really, really beautiful, because both people know how to communicate with each other and continue to date each other and keep things healthy, right? And that's the difference, right? So if you're always nostalgic for the past and the past times that you had with them at the beginning of the relationship and how everything just went downhill, then you've got to realize that you were in one of those relationships that was never going to last, okay? But if you was in a relationship where things just got better and better and better as time progressed, then you were in a more healthy, happy relationship. And that's the kind of relationship that I want for you, that I want you to find, okay? So more than likely, if you got dumped, if things were bad, and you guys split up, then you were in one of those more poor quality relationships, okay? So it's really important that you learn how to communicate and learn how to keep your partner attracted to you long term, okay? So that's the relationship that you want. That's the relationship that you've got to strive for. And that's why it's important that you've got to walk away from this person that you once loved, because if they don't want you anymore, then first of all, there's not really a lot you can do about that. And secondly, you need to find someone who you can have a really good relationship with that will not end. Because if your relationship ended, then obviously it wasn't perfect. Obviously something was wrong. Okay? And that makes it very easy to walk away once you have that knowledge. Once you know that and you know it instinctively. Once you know that, you can walk away forever. Because you're like, you know what? Actually, that relationship was not right for me. It was wrong on so many levels. And I'm going to get better. I'm going to learn relationship techniques, communication techniques. I'm going to learn better dating techniques so I can find someone way better and way higher quality. And guess what? If you do that, right, if you find a more high quality person to be with, a new partner that's way more amazing than your previous one, that's going to make your ex jealous. That may even make your ex try and crawl back into your life. But of course, by then, you'll be in this new amazing relationship and you may not even want them back. But it might bring you some satisfaction to know that they regret the breakup. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.ChristineLoveridge.com and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.